All right, let's do this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another Narwhals livestream, 11th of July 2025. I'm going to be working on bringing us closer to narwhals.stable.v2 API and resolving issues that we might encounter along the way. Okay, just did an audio check and it sounds all right from my end. If there's any issues, please do let me know. Otherwise, I'd assume that it's fine. All right, let's get started. So I've started a pull request here to check what would be the impact of actually moving to stable.v2 and enforcing some deprecations. Now, the only library I found in our downstream tests which this would affect is hierarchical forecast. I made a pull request to them, which fortunately they've already merged, but it would be good to wait until they actually make a release. Now, I don't think they release super often. March, April, it's now July. It's been 3 months since the last one. And I think there's a couple of ways of looking at that. One could be that it's been a while and therefore there's a new one on the horizon. But another one could just be that if we extrapolate based on existing frequency, then it might be a while. Nonetheless, users might not find it easy to upgrade straight away. It's not like hierarchical forecast is critical infrastructure, but I still think we should try to be good citizens here. And I don't think it's very painful to maintain native namespace in from dict a bit longer. So I think we can delay enforcing this deprecation and do the others. Now, if we look here at downstream tests, I think this shiny one is unrelated. I've been seeing a few failures from them. I think their test suite is fairly flaky, which is kind of annoying because once you've got a flaky test suite, then you're no longer strictly checking for green. And so errors that aren't actually unrelated can slip through. That's happened in the past. But I don't really know what to do about it. Now, if we look at the failing tests, okay, the tests are all passing. It's just that the coverage is not yet at 100%. So we need to make sure that we've got tests for everything. I think that the missing coverage is probably just for things that we're overriding in v2. We need to override some things to make sure that the type hints are correct. But the behavior should be the same, so I don't think it should be too much effort to cover these. Right, let's dive in. Let's take a look at them. So line 453. Let's check that I'm able to get my code showing. Yes, code, here it is. Okay, I just need to make it a bit smaller, resize, but it looks like it's coming through. Okay, here we are. Nice. We've got it. So where were we? So we need to take a look at line 453 from stable v2 and see why this isn't covered and if we can add a test to cover it. So 453. Okay, so it's a lot of these from native tests. Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to come from there. which, yeah, this is going to take some effort, but I think it's necessary. This is the part of Narwhals which is a bit less interesting, but it's what's got the largest impact on users. So yeah, let's do that. So we've got from native test, we can probably, as a precursor, maybe we can take some of these out into just v1. Yeah, that might not be too bad of an idea. A bit difficult to get enough space here to see and type. Okay. So typing, here I was just sorting out some static typing. Nothing life-changing. Then let's see if there's any test which, yeah, like this test here only uses v1. Eager only lazy task. This doesn't feel like it should be using v1 though. Yeah, as a precursor, let's see if we can factor out anything. So factor out v1 from native tests. So I'm going to start by making a new branch. I'm going to make sure that I'm up to date with upstream main. Let's see if there's anything we can factor out from here. By factor out, I mean, here we've got from native test. So this should only be testing the from native functionality. Anything else should be tested in the v1 file. Yeah, we've got some blanket ignores, but whatever. So let's see. Let's see where v1 is used here. So test strict. Strict is a deprecated parameter in the main namespace, so that's probably why we're using v1 here. I think we can just move this one over to the v1 test without much controversy. Then eager only, cannot use eager only when we've got something lazy. Yeah, like this doesn't need to, this isn't a v1, this doesn't need to be a v1 test, does it? This can just be Narwhals. Then eager only. Sure, this one also is not really v1 specific. So let's just use Narwhals. Then series only, likewise. Then allow series. And here we've got strict. Why are we using strict? We're already testing strict somewhere else. I feel like here this could just be pass through equals true. And then let's replace v1 with just nw. Invalid combinations. Series only, allow series. Yeah, this one can just be nw. Got a feeling that coverage is going to noticeably drop after we do this, but that's okay because it'll let us focus the v1 test on just what needs to change between versions. And that means that then when we go to v2, we'll be able to focus more closely on what needs to change for that. Series only. Same for dusk, okay. I must say it's a little hard to type today. It's unusually hot here in the UK. We've got 31 or 32 degrees. Strict false typing. Okay, this is just for v1, so this one actually does need to be v1. In which case I'd say we can put it in the v1 test file. And we want to run this only if Polars is installed. Yeah, okay, this seems fine. Let's go back to the from native test. Strict false invalid. Yeah, this can also just be v1 only. Strict, yeah, more just v1 things. Wait, didn't I just move this one over? Oh, sorry, I am in the v1 test. What am I doing? So we've done D types, test strict, from native strict false typing, and then false invalid, yeah. Okay. From native. Then we've got something to do with the interchange protocol, so that's definitely a v1 test thing. Then non-v1, this should raise a type error, sure. Native strict, native. I don't get this, why this should be n1 v1. Then polars, yeah, I think this is also not v1 specific. Lazy frame. This can be v1, I think. Some strange testing things we do here. Run little data frame there. No big deal. Okay, we've got this recursive one. Recursive v1. Gosh, this stuff is a bit crazy. series recursive. We've got a series recursive v1. Let's take that over as well. Okay, yeah, I think it's looking pretty good now. I don't think we have any remaining v1 cases, invalid keywords. Maybe let's try to not parameterize over this. Like, if we don't need it, then I wouldn't bother. And we need to silence overload match. What's the name of the code? It would be great if my Pi and PyWrite could agree on the error codes. Ah, call overload just. Okay, got a hi from Reading, Dan in the chat. Hello. So where are we? Okay, now typing is actually passing, but I'm pretty sure that either tests won't or coverage won't be there. Okay, this v1 test is fine. Oh wait, yeah, we don't have a v2 test. Okay, so this one's in tests translate. See if this one passes. We've got some failures. Gosh, is it just hanging indefinitely on something? I think here we can just use pass through equals true for this test. We don't need the strict. It doesn't really seem relevant to what it's testing. Okay, I think we can just put that in a few places. And let's try again. Okay, nice. Now it does pass, but I'm pretty sure that the coverage won't. Now, trying to run the tests while on stream does result in much slower execution time, so this will take longer than usual. But yeah, let's take a look anyway. I think if we just run these two tests, it should, that these should be enough to have full coverage. So Well, let's take a look. So here there's, yeah, 1,000,000 overloads. But then the logic inside shouldn't be too complicated. So we just need this little check for keywords. And we need to check what happens if we pass something that's already not modified. So let's see if any of... So we're missing 963. Unexpected keyword argument. I must confess, I don't remember why we needed this keywords. Did it make some overloads easier? I think we don't have that in translate, do we? We do here as well. Okay, I'm not sure I remember, but this is why Git is so good. We can check back and see the context. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little break. Be right back. Okay. Let's do this. Here we are. Let's do this. So, what we got? Okay, right. Cam's joined in the chat. Hi, Cam. I can see that you've both got. I don't know if it's publicly visible, but I can see that you've both got crowns here. But both of your crowns say number 1. Top fans. All right. So where were we? This was the context where Dan introduced. Cannot be allowed to match this. Oh, right, yeah. Nice. Yeah, this works. Yeah, I do have some recollection of looking at this and deciding that it's fine. Because the overloads determine what's allowed and what's not anyway. So I'd say let's just accept it the way it is. And yeah, do what we can. So by no means do I think that this from native mechanism is perfect and even remotely close. But I was never able to think of anything that didn't have anything that I didn't like. And I don't think it's terrible. So, where were we? We're missing coverage. Yeah, for when it's already not modified. And for this extra keywords, which... Okay, sure. Let's do it. So from native, already now qualified. That's... I think we only need one library to test this with, really, so let's just use polars, because I probably don't need to justify why I just want to use polars too much at this stage. So, yeah, I'm gonna say df is gonna be from so nwv1 dot from native pl dot data frame 1. Then we're gonna say assert is instance wv1 dot from native df v1 dot data frame. In fact, I think we can even say assert that this like actually is the object. So let's run test v1 test. Okay, already. Yeah, this is fine. So let's just do the same for lazy frame and for series. What have I done? Hey Marco, hey everyone. Hey II-JAR. Pretty sure I've seen you on streams before, but I can't remember who you are. So if I do know who you are, please do reintroduce yourself. I saw in the chat somebody was asking about a link earlier. All right, somebody's posted the calendar link already. So all good. Stelios, nice one. Yes to Stelios. Let's do series as well. Even easier. Just slice a series out of the data frame. Now, the need for allow series might seem slightly arbitrary, but the first ever library to use Narwhals was time-based CV. This is one when Narwhals had exactly 0 users, and I was pretty keen to get at least one library to use it. And there, it just ended up simplifying things if we had this allow series. So that's how it started. I don't know if it's visible here. Well, it's visible somewhere. So, from what I remember, so yes, Stelios, you're based in Italy, as far as I remember. Yeah, Cam, West Coast US, so pretty early for him. I don't know where Dan is based. So yeah, just asking out of interest, really. I think I've sometimes seen you commit in the morning, so I feel like hazarding a European guess. But I really don't know. There's not much information available on Dan, other than that he got banned. Which I'm also really curious about. Banned from what? Right, where were we? So we've done these. Do we not have a test for invalid arguments? I think we've just got a type error. And we'll match it in a second, but let's also introduce something like belugas equals true. So we can just do with bytest.raises value error, and then we can match on got an unexpected word. I missed the question. I was coming back to my laptop and heard my name. I think I was just asking like where people were joining from. So I know that Cameron's West Coast US. I think that you, Stadios, you're based in Italy. And we don't know anything about Dan other than what his username tells us, which is that he got banned. But we don't know banned from what. We do know that he's a nice guy, though. And when I met Stefan from Altair, he said so as well. Yep, West Coast US for me. Are you in California? Let's do a little bit of geography. So we've got, oh, sorry, Seattle is in Washington State, and then here is Oregon. And then California is down here. But other states really divided like this with really straight lines. Is this true? Like, I thought it was only African countries that were just divided with perfectly straight lines when colonizers slash invaders, whatever, decided which part would belong to who. But is this just Google Maps rendering it like this, or are US states really just drawn with rulers? About 90 minutes east of San Francisco. That's lots of West Midwest states have nice straight lines. The East states are wild. Yeah, but like, to me, this feels like it's probably respecting some natural boundary, whereas here it seems totally arbitrary, totally artificial. Curious to know why. Take a look later. So where? Well, yeah, we got the unexpected keywords. I used to live in Maryland on the East Coast, which is probably the oddest shape state. Really. Is it that small one there? Or that one? Yeah, inclined to agree that is pretty odd. Odd shaped. Anyway, so we've got the invalid keywords, we've got the already Narwhalified. I feel like our coverage is probably in a much better state. So let's take a look. At least it should be. Oh, nice. Well, okay, tests still pass, but that's not really a surprise. We're still missing 963. What? Didn't I just test this? Oh, yeah. Just belugas to the wrong constructor. Actually, let's also add, what's the command for checking the test times? I think we've got something like that in here. Oh, durations dash 30. It's just the durations time. Like, it's very bizarre to me why this is so slow. So it does pass. Okay, now So missing coverage, we need to go to line 10,047. So 1047, capital G. Oh, 2 native. I'm actually slightly confused as to... Oh, yeah, I think we need 2 native here. We need the overloads, certainly, because of the strict argument. But other than that, why do we need 2 native here in V1? Because we've already got 2 native in translate, right? Yeah, I think we could just pass... We could just call that, couldn't we? Because we don't change any behavior. We've just got this strict argument. But as long as we make sure that this line is still called, for the rest we should be able to just pass to Narwhals that from native. Sorry, Narwhals that to native. Yeah, we just need to give it pass through. And this should immediately improve our... Oh, PySpark Connect. This test is super slow. Well, that's painful. Let's do something about that. What we could do is only run this test if we're actually explicitly passing constructors equals PySpark, in which case we could do if PySpark is not in the constructor, just continue. Just return. Only run this slow test if it's passed. So although I don't want to run it if we have SQL frame. So if not PySpark in string constructor and SQL frame not in string constructor, we should make some utilities for these at some point. Maybe that's good sprint material. If when we do another Narwhal sprint, I know that PyLadiesCon was doing some online event in December. Maybe that's a good one for us to go to and... Okay, nice. Yeah, okay, nice. So we've done that. That's all good. So we've covered from and to native completely. Now Wallify. Now Wallify still has some missing coverage. So we're missing this one here where there's multiple backends. But now Wallify also is confusing me. Okay, yeah, I think I have some recollection of All right, yeah. Looks like I've got some revert. I think I have some recollection of us trying to share this one between Narwhals main and Narwhals v1, and found that it wasn't really feasible. So this is what we've ended up with. I don't think it's terrible. So we just need to make sure that this part is covered, so where there's multiple backends. And when func is none. And that's it. There's some other functions we need to cover in here. Right down at the bottom, 1714. Read CSV. Probably scan CSV. Yeah, okay, all of these IO functions we need tests for. I've got a feeling we do have tests for these, but they're just in the wrong files. So if we go to read CS, do we not have a read CSV? Read scan test, is it really in there? So let's take a look. Read CSV. Oh yeah, it is in here. Oh, because this one we parameterize over namespaces. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do that. I kind of want to keep most of the tests just using the main namespace. And then anything that needs to be different, it can be like in v1 test or v2 test. So yeah, let's split this up. Let's break it up. So v1 test, we don't have anything for read CSV here now. Okay, so let's do def test IO. Then in here, yeah, let's put polars. And let's do I think for polars we can just use IO string IO to read. CSV is what do we do for Parquet though? Do we write to a temporary file? Oh right, yeah, we do. Yeah, let's just copy this one. So what we're going to do is read CSV. Guess we're going to have to use this temp dir fixture. So let's just make a CSV and a Parquet file. So write CSV temp.csv, and then we're gonna write a Parquet file. a little break soon. Yeah, I think this is a bug in, well, it's a missing overload or something in PyTest if they don't allow us to use the division operator between their temporary file and something else. Maybe I should contribute this, but it's really not my priority. I need to not get distracted. So, test IO. Sure, let's do this. All right, need to use NWV1. Cool, this passes. Let's do the same for the others. So read CSV, let's use scan CSV. This one should be a lazy frame. And then we can do the same for Parquet. Yeah, okay, this should cover a lot more things. And then here we can just not parameterize. So we're gonna replace NW namespace with NW. Definitely keen to remove PySpark tests if I can. This is wild. Yeah, totally wild test. And they're especially painful to parameterize over. But yeah, it's not that bad to remove. Okay, let's just get pre-commit passing, then take another little break, and then we can finish off. Oh, nice, imported but unused. I like to see that. Okay, short little break. Be right back. All right, we are back. Let's do this. So I think we had some command here about coverage. Let's just run that again and see if the relevant parts are improving. Okay, right, so now we're missing 1145. All right, so this Narwhalify is still missing. 1155, which is also Narwhalify. And okay, yeah, a bunch of other things. Sample. Yeah, sample we definitely need to factor out, but don't worry about that later. Cool. Let's get Narwhalify then. So we have like a Narwhalify test. Yeah, we do. And does this one? This doesn't import v1. So where was this even being called? So Narwhalify in tests. I've probably not spelled it right. Why is nothing coming up? They're probably is it being accidentally tested somewhere else where I didn't really want it to be tested? Stable Narwhalify test. Yeah, it's probably here. Oh, this is all using v1. Yeah, let's take all of this into the v1 test then. Let's do it. So some of these we need to paste in this data. Tests. Not that that's an issue, because in the Zen of Narwhals we do say, yes, that needs testing. So I can't complain that we have too many. Not too many. I can't complain that we have a lot of tests. Right, we've had the data in a few places. Just nitpicking here, but it should probably always come after import a skip. So can you're the Vim wizard. Is there any way to just move a line down? I would normally, like here, I'm just going to do DDJ. Is there? Yeah. Do you have any Vim magic that does better than that? Hey, two failures, wicked. Data's not defined. Okay, let's see what it thinks about this. Okay, we also need to import this type int. Let's also make sure that we've always got the DDJP is what I would do as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I said DDJ. Yeah, it would be DDJP. Yeah. If it works, then why not? Curious if you've tried, what was that Rust-based editor? Like Helium? Helix? Yeah, Helix. Yeah, just curious if you gave that a go and if you have thoughts about it. So DDP is to move one line. Oh, right, DDJP to move 2 lines down. Yeah, makes sense. Thanks. Cool, so now, what was the test that we copied all of this from? Are we missing this into dataframe? Oh, it was stable nullify test. So let's make sure we've got the input. And then we can delete this test. Okay, nice one. So move stable nullify test to v1 test. The other thing I noticed was sample. No, some data was not necessary in this test. Yeah, so here in sample test, we're using v1. Have we deprecated sample completely, or do we still have it in series? I can't remember. So express sample is deprecated. Series.sample is still there, yeah. So what we could do is that here in sample test, then the extra ones we just move over. And we just keep something like series sample that we do here. I haven't tried Helix yet. I might check it out, though I did say the same about NewVim. And also haven't tried that out yet either. I'm so impressed at how productive you managed to be with just base Vim. Like something like this, you see this search throughout, and then it just easily shows me where we've got def sample. I'm not saying you can't do that in Vim. I'm just saying I can't as easily. And maybe that's a skill issue. But so here we're actually testing the series. And then we've got this deprecated call. Here we're testing fraction, which we might as well just... I don't think this one needs to be... Yeah, I think this could just be a series test. Similarly here, I think most of these could just be series tests, and then we just move one extra test over to v1. Yeah, let's do that. RG if one installs the FZF plugin. What's this? Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out, because Seems, for what stars are worth, this seems to be fairly popular. Offers commands to search through file names. I like the sound of this. Okay, nice one. Thanks, Cam. Yeah, we can probably have the deprecated call here. It's probably fine to have here. So then let's do sample fraction. And here we can just use df. We'll just use it on the series, like, yeah. Well, in fact, we've already got a series test, so let's just remove this extra one. Then sample with seed. Yeah, let's just do the series one. Okay, nice. Yeah, this should be all we need. This should retain coverage, and we're still testing the same things. I think it's okay. And this might be enough for a single pull request. So let's put this up and see if it looks okay. $420, lol. Oh, right, arg, true. Yeah, there's a bunch of other deprecated ones which are here, but we can, I think it's okay to do that separately. Let's start with this. Let's see if the diff looks okay. Roughly speaking, I'm still hoping that by August or so we can think about having a V2 API. I think it's badly needed. V1 just contains a bunch of mistakes. And people do seem to use them. Okay, yeah, this is fairly uncontroversial. I think it should be fairly uncontroversial. So this is literally the same thing, but just Narwhals.2 native does, and the Narwhals data frame inherits, the V1 data frame inherits from the Narwhals one. So the is-instance checks should pass just as before. We just need to validate strict and pass through. So long as this is actually covered by tests, I think this is okay. Sample, we've drastically all of these we've drastically simplified so that we can just test out in V1 that we get right, that we get back the correct class. Yeah, this can simplify things a bit. And here we've got test strict. Yeah, that we've moved over. Yeah, I think we can open a draft PR and see if it's actually green. Yeah, this one's fine. And here, yeah, we're removing some extra. Ooh. Yeah. So as long as we've got a deprecated call test, this should be okay. Which we do here. So for v1, we're checking the results, and then we've got some deprecated call with mw.call. Yeah, that's fine. Then in scan test, yeah, we're simplifying this by not parameterizing over NW namespace. Yeah, this is okay. Then from native also, we're just using NW when we can, and non-deprecated arguments. Like, if that's not the focus of the test, then I don't think we should be using them. Moving more things over. Yeah, we really need a helper function for this. Is this logic right? So I only want to run this one if PySpark is in the constructor and SQL frame isn't. So if we don't have the condition, we just return. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we've deleted this stable Narwhalify test, and we've moved it over to the v1 test. It is a bit long, but I think it's okay. And I think it's kind of nice to have it all together in the same file. So what have we added? Test strict false typing. Invalid. Sure. This is a bad name. Mock interchange protocol non-strict. But we've deprecated that one for non-strict. Anyway. Do we have anywhere else where we've got this mock DF? It should probably be renamed to just v1. All right, yeah, then we're just testing Narwhalify. For example, yeah. I think this seems reasonable. And of course, things aren't passing, but let's see why. Point blank, I would hope this is unrelated, because I can't, yeah, this looks unrelated. Oh gosh. Why? Mono instead of sans, which, yeah, this is unrelated, but why? Yeah, okay, typing we need to sort out. And then shiny is just shiny as usual, unrelated errors. Okay. Time for a little break, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, let's get back to it. My brain is melting under the heat, but gotta be done. Where's this going? Okay, pyrite at least passes. Right, so my Pi failed some things, but which pyrite doesn't mind. Why? Okay, fine. Let's just put this in. Out. Yeah, pasted the wrong thing. This is a symptom of quite how cooked my brain is. If that passes, V1 test. No, this is right. So where are we? Yeah, I'm hoping that now we can actually get something close to passing. 2 errors. Yeah, I don't know. On this, all of these overloads, we may not be a bad idea to think about whether there's any which nobody would realistically write, and so whether we can remove some of them. This one needs an annotation, really? Well, not if we just put it in, put it in here. Okay, we're close enough here. Well, the fact that now we do... Right, I'm slightly confused now, because now it is no longer passing, which suggests that I might have changed something. Lazy frame never, not lazy frame any. This is so confusing to me. I mean, what have we changed here compared to what we did on main? Let's... No, this wasn't in stable Narwhalify. This was in from native test. Let's look here. So what we're doing here is lazy frame recursive v1. This looks exactly the same as what we've got in the new code. But just to check, I'm going to copy and paste it. You now get the same thing. Oh, this is going to be so frustrating. Yeah, I don't know if anyone can see what the issue is. This is so bizarre to me. Like, we just moved it to a different file. Now it's complaining, and I think I only have so much patience to debug it. I think we can just ignore the annotated because we've got the next line, which is doing an assert type. Oh, right. Oh, I think I see the issue. Yeah, var annotated is ignored here. So now, do we actually not... I'm curious if now we don't need that anymore. So first, let's run MyPy on this one. Okay, now this makes sense. And there's also maybe an argument against disallowing things broadly, like this at a function level. Even if you need to do it in line 10 times, then it's at least a bit clearer. It's a bit easier to find, I'd argue. Nice, so this one passes. Let's check the other one. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We've got some... Yeah, let's just add the bar annotated here. Let's see if this fixes it. Okay, this is also somewhat amusing if anyone wants a bit of GitHub drama. Not really GitHub drama, but I think this is somewhat amusing. And I think it kind of applies to Narwhals because any change to the Polus public API is also something that we need to keep in mind. But yeah, there's somebody insisting quite heavily for a feature which I don't really understand, and which I think everyone from Polus would feel very uneasy about, which was to have this select output, which just selects the output of an expression, rather than it doesn't actually evaluate the expression. Yeah, curious if anyone else feels about this and the example he provides, but I think that, well, it's a bit surprising to me to see somebody arguing so heavily for something nice. Now it's actually passing. Cool. But seeing as this affects the Narwhals API, so let's see what they want to do. So they want to make some feature store. They've got some double feature. Get features. So for one thing, there's a lot of justifying this on the basis of dry, which stands for don't repeat yourself, which I think is one of the most misused advices in programming. It's like sometimes just to like introducing a new dataframe method so that you don't have to repeat the name of a column twice feels like an exact illustration of why taking this don't repeat yourself too seriously is bad. But if you take it to an extreme, you end up with something that's so complicated and not understandable. Whereas if you just accept a bit of copy and pasting every now and then, when it's tasteful, when it's necessary, then you can keep things a lot simpler. Nonetheless, I do feel somewhat compelled to respond. So a common but verbose pattern is to have some feature name. This looks fine. Yeah, this is... It's just very bizarre to me also, like just insisting so much and then commenting here again and then also pinging people on Discord about it. Anyway, whatever. To some extent. We can't care about everything. Right, I am melting. Hopefully we've fixed up the typing errors. If this is green, I'll get back to it later with some... Yeah, it looks like it might be on its way towards being green. I'll get back to it later with some fresh eyes. I think I'm just a bit too heated to continue. Gonna need a little break. So yeah, thanks for attending. Good to see you. Yeah, Cam, Dan, Stadios. So that's it from me for today. All the best. Hasta luego. And see you next time.